No second chances, no support, and nowhere to go but the finish line. Day and night, non-stop, racing the clock as much as they race themselves. Across 4 continents and countless challenges. The ultimate prize is simply surviving. The journey, the tears, and the triumphs. Welcome to Wild Races. New Zealand, thrust from the Southern Ocean, where life itself is carved in adventure. We welcome the next exhilarating round of the series.
In our lifestyle, you always just manage to find new, beautiful places that you just didn't know were there. And that, I think, is the beauty of adventure racing. Like, you just go to somewhere and you go, how did they find this? And that's what it's about.
I think adventure racing has gone well in New Zealand because the outdoors are so accessible. No matter where you live in this country, you're either next to a river or next to the ocean or next to a lake, and the mountains can't be far away.
Look around, look at the hills, you know. This is paradise. This is an outdoor person's paradise. And we're just lucky that we live in this country.
For us, we've just grown up around this and grown up being able to train in these mountains. It's part of who we are. We just love being in the outdoors.
New Zealand was the birthplace of adventure racing largely because it just fits well with the psyche, I think, of New Zealand. The settlers that came here were pretty resourceful people and pretty adventurous, and it's just a lot of hardship, I think, in just building a country in what is essentially a fairly rugged and hostile sort of environment.
I think that's why God's Zone is going to go off as one of the best races around, is just how awesome it is and how amazed people are going to be of their own country, plus people coming overseas are going to see this and just fall in love with it, as Kiwis do. Just look at it, it's incredible.
The freedom this race gives you just to stay outside for 4 or 5 days, that's a real buzz. Like in normal life, you sit in an office, you sleep at night, you know, you're inside, but this sport just allows you to be out here for hours on end, and there's no pressure to go indoors. You never have to go indoors, it's amazing. Mentally, you just have to take one stage at a time, one moment at a time, and just trust in your teammates that they're going to help you work through the issues that you're going to come up against. A lot of it's in your head. You've just got to be tough mentally and just push through those bad times and know that the good times are gonna be just around the corner.
I come from a bit of a triathlon background, and the training for this is just so much more intense. I'm concerned with this, with the mental game. It's going to be exciting and really going to teach you how you can deal with things. I think that's a big part about this race, is looking inside and just seeing how much you want to hurt. It's simple as that. Places that I've never been. I think that's the best part about it. It's having it in New Zealand. It's something that it's so close that after the race you get to go out again and go, oh my God, we went through this, and actually hopefully be able to savour it a little bit more. So having it in your backyard I think is just the best part about it.
I think our generation just still have a little bit of that sort of she'll be right Kiwi attitude. That sort of lends itself well to that sort of adventure racing spirit, but also just that mentality of, you know, we'll be right, let's just kind of get the job done. I've always been adventurous as a kid, and I feel quite lucky that I found an avenue where you could basically be adventurous and not really have too much moderation and not kill yourself. I think when you look at the sort of results of adventure racing or who's doing well, it's certainly older people seem to be more consistent, but I tend to think that's more to do with experience more than age. It comes down to, I think, more on how many races you've done and how much time you've spent in the backcountry. So at the moment I think it's a sport where us older folks can still do all right, but I don't see any reason why, you know, people in their sort of early to mid-20s couldn't be out there sort of winning these major races.
This will be our first expedition race, so the first really long race we've done. We don't really know yet how big the jump's going to be, but we're thinking it will be a big step. And we're really, really excited about it, but also quite nervous. It's going to be, I think, an exciting few days and a really challenging few days as well. Yeah, I think there's some advantage from knowing this area, and we're used to the temperature and we're used to the ruggedness of the terrain and the big mountains. Like you say, we're young and fit and strong and plenty of enthusiasm, so we just work to our strengths and we rely on our fitness, and we'll just do our best out on the course.
I think definitely With maturity comes a bit more respect, I think, for nature and what it can throw at you. And I think as we probably, being an older team, you've been through a lot before, you know that everything is going to be challenging and you don't think you're better than it. So you're sort of prepared for the tussle, you're prepared for the fight. I think I'm stronger, faster, over the longer stuff, you know, that tougher stuff. So I think you just get tougher and thick-skinned. We go into a race, the number one priority is to finish the race because it is about the course and completing the course. So a win is to finish in our minds. In life, you just set yourself challenges. You know, like I know as a kid, I grew up and everyone else wanted to walk places and I wanted to run. So anytime I see mountains, I just want to run to the top of them. And I think we're all like that. We all come from the same background as you just want something that's just a little bit more challenging than what it is for the normal person.
The terrain, the landscapes that you get to go to and the people that you meet racing with, racing against along the way as well. It's, you know, good camaraderie, but we just love going to new places. We're looking forward to being near the front of the field, but also probably enjoying the sights a bit more and the scenery than what we have in some other races where you're maybe just concentrating on the result too much. You know, we want to actually remember what we've done and, you know, why we're actually at it. We're here because we want to have fun and not just because we want to push ourselves to the limit for 5 days.
This epic landscape allows all our teams to return to the purest pursuit of all, themselves against some of the most challenging environments on the planet.
Today is, for us, is good team bonding before the race. We get to jog and get our bikes running right and just enjoy it, and I think this is going to be really, really good for our team. I think it's one of the most important things for adventure racing. If you're not getting on and not helping each other, then you know you're not a team and you're racing for yourself, and you can't last.
That's the biggest thing. We're racing for 4 or 5 days, and over that time everyone's going to have a really low moment, and it's in those moments that your teammates support you and help you out.
It's going to have to be extremely tough for us to not be able to band together and get through this.
My take on the race from a racing point of view is there's probably 5 or 6 teams I think are be capable of holding a pretty good pace. There's so many variables in these races. I don't think you can really say, you know, you're going to win any of these sort of races. I think if you're going to say that, or if you do say that, you're probably showing your ignorance a bit or naivety. So to me it's really about going out there and just focusing really as much as we can on our own performance and just trying to do all the things that we can do well. I think if we can do that, if we can just go there and have a great race, I think we'll be a very, very hard team to beat. But on saying that, there's a lot of things that can happen, a lot of curveballs. In an adventure race, if something's going to go wrong, it usually happens in numbers.
A lot of good athletes come to adventure racing. It can take a long time to succeed. Navigation is certainly one of the parts to that. Ideally, you want to find a team where everyone can do everything. Look, one of the problems maybe, the things that we've learnt over the last couple of years is that being a sole navigator is very taxing, and I've found that extremely mentally draining, and we're making a move to sort of try and share the workload a bit more. In terms of the other makeup of the team, you want someone who knows bikes, good at, you know, running repairs and that type of thing, and, you know, is strong on the bike. Also, you know, people who are good on foot and kayak, and maybe not everyone's going to be good at each leg, but also someone who's a good organiser, because, yeah, getting together for a race of 5 days takes a lot of organising.
I think definitely for us, the cold is going to be the challenge. Really important in a team is to get on with your teammates, and we're really lucky. We all know each other's strengths and weaknesses, so we know what we're going to be like in our high points, and we know what we're going to be like when we're low. And usually in a race, everyone's highs and lows are all at different points, so we sort of can hopefully pick each other up when we're down. We're looking forward to seeing New Zealand's most spectacular scenery, definitely.
This landscape, simply breathtaking.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Get to train out here and come along and race it for 5 days. It's going to be incredible. Some of the scenery is just amazing. So being able to get out and see it, and just with the boys and Emily as well, just in the middle of nowhere, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. To be honest, I think the biggest concern is not eating properly. Like, as much as we tick on, I think if you don't eat properly, like I said, you're really just going to struggle. So yeah, I'm just concerned if I don't eat enough or eat the right foods at the right time, I'm really going to go down. Yeah, it's about planning. I think it's the biggest part about this is, most of God's Own is just planning. Make sure that you plan every minute of that, you're eating what you need to and can get through, because like you said, you're unsupported and you're just going to have to get through it yourself.
With teams being self-supporting, a race like this becomes an expedition.
I mean, as much as possible you get out into the outdoors with a pack on your back and a map, and you just immerse yourself in the environment. That last race in Tasmania was the final, that was the retirement race, and here we are on the start line again. You can't not do a race in New Zealand. You can't not do the God Zone, which is the first expedition race back in New Zealand since Southern Traverse. You just can't say no to that. And then you do one, you have a brilliant time. And then, yeah, retirement's off the cards. If you can still do it, do it. Lots of challenges, and I think the main challenge will be the cold. Managing yourselves through the hot and the cold, and the terrain. It's going to be tough out there. So yeah, we're a bit apprehensive about this one. It's no Australia. This is New Zealand. This is the real thing.
Queenstown on New Zealand's South Island offers up one of the most spectacular and picturesque race headquarters on the event calendar.
Well, this is registration. Well, it's just about impossible not to get a little excited, just not doing much exercise and rebuilding energies, and so I guess everybody should be jumping out of their skin. It'd be nice to hit the start line and release some energy. The South Island is just phenomenal. It's any part of it, you hit any ridge, any mountain range, any gully in the South Island here, they're just all pristine. This is, we've got a few pretty cool places in the North Island, but the South Island is just the most amazing playground.
Yeah, it's starting to really hit home. Then you start seeing all the other teams around and realise it's a big deal, and it should be great.
Starting to sink in now.
I just think it's the variety. You don't have to go very far from Queenstown. You sort of pitch yourself 50 kilometres to the west and you're into alpine forest. 70 kilometres to the west, you're in real kind of rainforest type country. You go 50 kilometres east and you're almost into semi-desert. So condensed within 120 kilometres or so, you get every sort of almost ecosystem, and then you've got high mountains, you've got deep cut fjords, gorges, big lakes which are 80 kilometres long, which never get very warm, glacial rivers. You've got it all here so that you can give teams an experience that says you don't feel that every day is going to be the same. Every day could be different, every hour could be different, and that's the beauty about New Zealand, is it's the variety you get.
It's pretty rugged around here, so it's definitely going to dictate where we can go, but it'll be spectacular, there's no doubt about that. Everyone's probably got a fair idea of where we're going by now, but no one knows exactly where, and so everyone's in the same boat, and it'll be a nice surprise when we get there.
Making sure we've all got what we're meant to carry for a mandatory, making sure that's key. You've got to make sure the mandatory is there. We know, obviously, other experienced racers have had the odd time where they haven't had a shoe's been missing, or they have come to transition and they've forgotten their transponder, so we are really wary of that. We want to make sure that we've got everything in our pack at all times.
This is our first time, so it's been a definite challenge. I don't know what I'm going to eat on a 22-hour leg 3 days into the race. I just don't know, so there's been a lot of guessing involved.
We have to believe that we can do it, and if we've got to all give each other the moral support, I think, at the moment.
hopefully nothing goes wrong.
It's nice, probably going to be a pretty restless night's sleep, which just puts you behind the 8 ball from the word go. But yeah, you know, any sleep's good sleep, so I'll take it while I can, because it's not going to get much over the next 5 nights, that's for sure.
We don't really know where we're going at the final destination, other than we've got a couple more hours on the bus. So we think we're heading over to Milford Sound, but time will tell. Yeah, it does add another layer of excitement for sure, not knowing where we're going and things. But I think, just speaking to a lot of the other teams and athletes, is it's such an amazing area down here in Fiordland that no one's really too worried where we go, because we know it's going to be good.
I think it's good, you know, it just adds to that element of the unknown, and in the end everyone starts at the same spot, going to finish somewhere near the same spot, so yeah, just going to take it in stride.
There's been a lot of unknowns. What's a few more hours?
28 years this has been on the bucket list. I'm finally here, so it should be fun. Looking forward to trepidation, I think.
Our teams are escorted to an undisclosed location. Their only knowledge is that the course ahead will be one of the most challenging journeys yet seen by wild racers. On receiving their maps, the waiting is over. The course revealed, tension builds, and strategies are formed.
Sea kayak, 15 k's, road bike 49, canoe 46, bush trek 54, mountain bike 81, mountain trek 48, mountain bike 129, alpine ropes 124, mountain bike 20, and lake kayak 46. Looks like we've got a couple of interesting days ahead of us.
It's a good trek. That's what I'm really excited by. I want to get into some bashing and bushing.
Definitely added a lot more excitement to the bus trip though.
The bus is pumping. There's just so much talk. No one cares about anyone else at the moment. It's all about the team.
All right. This is where the fun starts.
Going to Milford, what we expected. It's looking really good. Looking pretty adventurous, so really excited.
We've just got the maps, and girls are pouring over a few of the checkpoints right now. We're just heading off to basically the start to set up camp and mark out our maps.
Well, I'm glad I'm not navigating. It's a good feeling.
It seems to be progressively harder and therefore cooler because it's about the fun.
Milford Sound and its prehistoric myths await.
Just getting off the buses now and the adventure starts. We're putting bikes together and then off to set up camp, try and get our last good night's sleep, and away we go. Really, really pumped.
This is CA1 nearby here. We'll start off with a paddle from out near the end of Milford Sound, back into shore here, hop on our bikes and then ride up through the saddle through Homer Tunnel and to TA2. The race was a bit unique in that we only got the maps about an hour ago, so we had to pack our gear tubs and have a bit of a guess about where we might go, but the course was unknown, so that really it was something different, a new challenge. It's not the same old thing every time.
A bit apprehensive actually. It's nearly getting very close, so I suppose excited, nervous, apprehensive, a bit of every emotion.
It's sort of starting to sink in now. How hard it's really going to be and what we're going to be doing.
Even if we're at the back of the field or at the front, we're not going to give up, I don't think so. And it doesn't get any better, really.
Five and a half days of real adventure, wilderness, a lot of navigation, some pretty spectacular country. We've flown over it, we've run over it ourselves, and it's just awesome. Some of the treks look real interesting. There's a good bush trek which will take teams deep into sort of real Kiwi native bush, which will be real tough navigation. Most of the teams will do that on the first night. I think it'll be a real wake-up call for them. Second track, the real mountainous stage, where there's 25 kilometres between checkpoints, so it gives a lot of route options, and teams will have to make some big decisions, and if they make the wrong decisions they'll find themselves stuck and they'll have to back way out again because it's big country. A wrong move there could cost you hours. And then the final trek over Mount Earnslaw is just an epic alpine stage. It's short but it's sharp, and you get up very high and it's really exposed to the elements. You're up near the glacier, it could be really cold, but it's super beautiful. Yeah, I think they're going to be the vital stages for everybody, but you make a big mistake on any leg, you'll lose a lot of time, and I think there's some real fast teams here, so it could be small differences could make a big difference.
Our last hot meal, the final supper before we get out there and we start just drinking tins and baked beans and all of that, so it's pretty exciting.
Just trying to just started going through some of our maps. Well, we're about a third of the way through now, and that's probably about 2 hours into it, an hour and a half into it. So yeah, it could be a long night, but once it's done, it's all sorted. Don't have to worry about it for the rest of the race.
It's a really special part of adventure racing that you just do things that normal people would never experience or never do, and you just get pushed away outside of what's normal. And so that's part of the reason why we do it. We just love the challenge of that and enjoying these experiences.
The course comprises sea kayaking, road and mountain biking, alpine treks, lake kayaks, and some of the most staggering vistas on Earth, totaling 500 non-stop kilometres. Next week, it's go time. We discover why New Zealand was chosen for Middle Earth and why the challenge starts from the gun.